Hi, welcome to this eMentor 5-minute tips video on subject removals. In this video, we'll be going through priorities and a bit of information and advice on how to handle subject removals. Now, subject removals when you're a mortgage broker can often be one of the more stressful parts of the role. There's tight timescales, the client's anxious, the realtor's anxious. Everyone needs to get things or wants to get things done as quickly as possible, and you're the person that is responsible for the subject to financing. So this is just a bit of a list of what to prioritize when you're dealing with subject removals. Now, the ideal is, of course, you have everything signed off before subject removal and the file is broker complete. But the reality is often it's a bit of a grey area where some things may be remaining. You may be dealing with a lender that can't deal with things quickly enough. So this list is a bit of a priorities list. So the kind of key things here are at the top. So the subject property is of course essential. So it's essential that the lenders review the subject property and is willing to use that as security for the loan. So this is the real central piece here in the approval, of course. So this includes the appraisal and strata documents as applicable. So you may be thinking, okay, well, what if the appraisal comes back, 20,000 less? They've got a high down payment. This doesn't really matter. It's very, very rare, but there are times where things may come up in the appraisal which may cause the lender to not want to issue a mortgage on the property. Let's say there's signs of structural damage, or let's say the economic life of the property is stated being too low. So you really want to have the appraisal back ahead of your subject removal, because it is very risky to not have this before the client removes subjects. And any strata documents as well, as applicable. You want these reviewed and signed off by the lender in case there's special assessments, anything that will be a red flag for them and would affect financing. Next is income. So you need to know if the client's income is acceptable, and having them review this is really important. So you want this signed off. This is the kind of key part in can they qualify for the mortgage that you need. So if the lender needs to do any verbals, if they need to review pay stubs, if there's any questions in regards to income, you really want this signed off as quickly as possible. And the next is the commitment. So it's important to make sure that the client has reviewed and understands the mortgage that they have in place, including all of the terms, or any kind of penalties, prepayment privileges, the structure of the mortgage, and everything like that before they remove subjects. So you want to have this reviewed with them, and ideally they can sign this, sign off on everything, just so you have that confirmation before they are firmly committing to the property, because they will be relying on the commitment and the mortgage that you have in place when they proceed. So kind of going down the list here, so credit could be right at the top as well. The only reason it's further down is because lenders will usually flag these issues right away before issuing an approval. So this list is at the stage when you have an approval back, but there's a conditions list. So credit, the reason this is further down is it will often be signed off. So credit in this list tends to be things like if there's any debt payouts that are required or anything like that. You want to make sure that you've reviewed these with the clients, so the clients are comfortable with these, or if there's any questions on credit, you need to have these signed off as well. So if there's a question about the credit report from the lender, for example, missed payments or anything like that, that's a bit of a grey area, you want to have all of this signed off as well. Down payment is further down as well. So the reason for this as well is, so the lender will review the amount that you've put in the file for down payment. Often down payment is more of a documentation thing. So if you've provided this, but the lender's questioning administration details, so you have the statements, but the dates don't quite match up, or they need an additional statement, and you're aware of the source, and you have sufficient history, it's just not quite in the right format, then it's less of an issue to have this before subject removal. Use your judgment on this. Based on how much you have. Of course, down payment is very important, but it tends to be this is just a paperwork issue. So let's say you have their source of down payment, but it was 100 days ago, and then they've sent you a screenshot showing it in their account, but you need that history to fill in that gap. You know they have the funds, they have the source of the funds, make the client aware, we'll just need the extra documentation ahead of subject removal, and that shouldn't be a major concern. And then finally, and linked into this, is just administration. So anything that's just box ticking really that won't cause an issue in the approval. So, void check or solicitor details. The client will be able to get these, they just haven't done them yet. So this is just talking through a few of the key issues you'll want to get signed off before subject removal. It can be a bit of a grey area, but use your discretion. And the key thing as well is if there's anything outstanding, make sure the clients are aware in regards to everything before they make any decisions, before they remove subjects. Any comments, any thoughts, leave them below. Thanks.